Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, to Crypto Traders Arena. This is our weekly crypto review. Every Sunday, I think we're at episode 42. So I guess means there's only about 10 weeks left in the year. Jeez. So we've we've made it through the better part of this 2023 and crypto bear / bottom market, I guess we'd say. But if you've made it this far, welcome back. I do think there's a couple people in the chat that have probably watched most of these. We do have a solid regular crowd. While it might be a little bit small these days, we have the diehards, I like to call them, which show up every day. And of course, we do this show every Sunday. So I think I have my co-host here with me, our fearless leader, Mr. Paul J. Are you here?
Good morning or good evening. I don't know. I'm here as usual.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Welcome.
Just looking at Bitcoin now. Really curious what will happen at $29,850.
Yeah, nice 78.6 tag on Bitcoin. Perfect example for we were doing fibs. We were actually doing fibs this week in our Capio 1 program. So hopefully all those students actually are drawing the reload zone here on Bitcoin and seeing the 78.6 tag that happened yesterday, 2 days ago, whenever that was. We can look at that here in a minute. And of course, just if you are new to the program here, we every Sunday at this time do this review show where we're basically just walking through this long-term altcoin investment plan that we've called the Road to Financial Freedom. And we have a complete plan on our Discord channel of our approach, which is essentially just nibbling here down at now that crypto's down in the dumps here, we're just taking our nibbles and hopefully taking advantage of the upcoming bull run, whenever that is. So no real rush on that, but are hoping for maybe something next year heading into the Bitcoin halving. So the whole plan is based kind of around the idea that Bitcoin will sort of rally into its halving next year and produce some sort of uppy market. I've said a couple times lately, actually, too, that I like to kind of frame it in a way where I'm not even necessarily thinking about new highs in altcoins. Like, can I still take advantage of a sort of a muted bull run? Like, like if altcoins can bounce back to like 38.2s or 50% levels of their weekly ranges, then that's just like a dead cat bounce, right? But there should be a lot of money to be made, considering all the upside on a lot of these things. So we're just doing this little plan where we're nibbling here down against the lows, and we'll sell half of our position anytime price doubles. And then if we do head into a true uptrend, which isn't right now, we'll try to ride that thing to Valhalla, that people would say in the past rallies. So yeah, we might sell half our positions here to get into risk-free trades, right? And then after that, we're hoping to bang out some larger risk to reward on those free positions. So that's the general gist of what we're trying to do here. And if you want to kind of go deeper into that, then the plan itself is available along with the trade log that one of our members, Miku, built, who's in here. And Mercurio, I believe, helped on that too, who's also in here. So if you guys want to follow along with the actual levels that we're setting, you can do that there. And anybody that joins our free side of our Discord can access that. And then, of course, this show is based around that plan, and we'll get into basically 5 coins every week where we're just walking through the plan. This particular investment plan is focused on sort of the bigger market cap altcoins. So maybe the top 100 or so. we're looking to just establish 1% positions in each name. So that's kind of how it is for this plan. Now, of course, we're not getting into the weeds as much with like sort of up and coming altcoins for this particular plan. So that's another thing altogether that I hope we'll at least cover here and there. Like if we do find some new names as like time moves on, hopefully we can squeeze them into this plan, because it would be nice to have some of the sort of like potential new narrative stories going into whatever rally we might have going forward. So hopefully we can find a few of those too. And then on Tuesdays, I'm actually doing another YouTube show where I hope to kind of get into those names a little bit more. So that's kind of how I see our content for right now. Is on Sundays we're doing this sort of bigger market cap coins, and then maybe on Tuesdays we can get a little deeper into some of the other names that might not get covered here. So that's on Tuesdays around the New York Stock Exchange close. And then of course Paul and I are here every Sunday at 16 UTC. So anyway, if you are new to the channel, appreciate the whole like and subscribe and all that stuff. We are trying to grow this channel. While crypto's bumping along the bottom here, we're just busy building our community, and hopefully we'll be running on all cylinders, once the actual rally kind of starts. Crappy part is for that is like, really, if you want to take advantage of that bull market, then you kind of have to be hanging out with us now. The people that come along once the bull starts are going to be late, but hopefully we'll be like just running full steam at that point. So, I mean, for now we do, obviously we have our Discord channel. That's where the community basically is focused. And we have a free side, and then we do have a premium side that's focused more on what I would call actually trading, not so much investing, but actually trading setups on a daily basis, scalping, day trading, swing trading type stuff. And we have a lot of live stream sessions where people are trading. So that's kind of what we do on the premium side of our group. And then of course we are teaching some people how to trade in our Capio 1 program right now. And we have plans to sort of further that program into like scalping. It's like sort of the Capio 1's more like getting the process down and the basis of trading. And then after that, moving on to like actually scalping. And, just because in general, day trading's, it's like the same in theory, but it requires a lot more strength in all areas of trading to really successfully day trade. So you kind of have to do, investing like this show is a great place to start if you're not even really like interested in, well, I shouldn't say that, but if you don't have time and you're not working on actively becoming like a professional trader, but you do want to still access exposure to altcoins and stuff like that and take advantage of these investment cycles, this is like step one. Kind of learn the basics that we talk about in this show. And then if you want to start investing more time on a weekly basis to become an active trader, then you kind of move on from here. So that's sort of how that works. And hopefully we'll kind of provide that whole spectrum in our little training program, because we're just trying to bring people up to speed and get them trading setups in the market and get active. So, and hopefully down the road, that's what I mean by running on full steam. Like hopefully by the bull market, we just have a bunch of sharks hanging out that are just taking advantage of things like our THG trend continuation trade algo, because that thing's going to just destroy the bull market. And it'd be cool to just see, a shit ton of people in here just trading even that. So anyhow, speaking to the people that are, most of you listening right now are already hanging out with us all the time. So thanks for that. But anyhow, I suppose getting on with the show here. I'm just making sure my YouTube's up and running all well and good. Looks like it is. Nobody in the comments is telling me I sound like shit. Of course, the production quality of these events could be hit or miss. So if we do sound weird, or if you can't see something, or, feel free to just let us know in the chat. But otherwise, I'll maybe just try to keep this broader market overview short, but I'll just mention a couple things. One, the stock market's gotten pretty much crushed here the last week. And I suppose the hopes of any October and the stock market looks like it kind of fizzled out. It tried to bounce off of support and maybe bounce up into higher parts of the range. But it looks like it's crapped out, and now we're basically just back down against the lows of the range here. So we'll see what happens this week there. But I will mention the DXY first, which is kind of, I mean, counterintuitively to the stock market also getting crushed. It kind of looks like this M is trying to maybe start building. And there's even a little M here. So the dollar is definitely like weakening, you could say, I suppose, in this uptrend that it's been in, sort of running out of steam here. It doesn't mean it's, I don't know if you can throw in the towel yet here, but we did basically just come up kind of against this cluster price here and couldn't get above it and crapped out at the 50% level of the range. And sort of looks like it's rolling over. The moving averages are starting to tighten a little bit here. But again, we're still making higher highs and higher lows. So, this could just be an intermediate sort of consolidation here, and maybe price starts taking off again. If, maybe if the stock market does lose the lows, that's probably what we'll see happen here. So, but it does look like it's breaking down, which is kind of I thought the stock market might have a little more uppy to it here the last couple of weeks than it did. Or week, I should say. So anyway, this M maybe comes in, maybe it doesn't. You can see RSI is getting closer to M and out here, and there are little M's now, but RSI hasn't quite lost that level yet here, but it did get up and overbought. And I remember talking even back here, it was like when we were kind of threatening to get overbought, but hadn't quite. This uptrend was still very much like intact and just shooting straight up. Kind of took at least RSI touch and overbought here, and then M and out to put the first sort of dent in the rally. But I don't know, it hasn't like fully broken down yet. But I guess I was going to say we're at sort of the top of a range. If you kind of thought of this cluster as like, it is the 50% level of the entire range. So that seems reasonable that this is sort of like a battle here. And if we do M out here, probably have to come back against the 200 period moving average at some point. And then maybe that would be the sort of fuel for the stock market to bounce. But man, when you look at like the S&P, like it got hit pretty hard here. All I'll say is this was the bounce that first came in against the 200 period moving average, and it wasn't really a great W, but it tried its best here and just came up into essentially 38.2 of the range and the M breakdown here. And it's kind of in hindsight, looking just at this ABCD just for the future, this was a reasonable area, kind of confluence of the ABCD target and then the 200 moving average to look for support. So it was reasonable that support was found here, especially when you kind of look left and see just sort of coming against the old highs and stuff. So this like 4,200 level seems to be strong support for the S&P. However, it was just kind of dead cat bounce up into moving averages and then an M out and rolled over. And now it's just looking like it's going to either probably at least take out the lows here and just sort of wash the liquidity below this low. And whether it's like a fake out and we bounce or more down is hard to say at the moment, but really it's just kind of pointing down pretty hard. And this, it could turn into a W. Maybe we still get up to the top of the range, but I think it's too early to call that. We just have to see what happens here against the lows again. And you can kind of see RSI, like certainly no divergence here yet, but if we do kind of FU those lows and bounce, you'll probably start seeing divergences trying to form in RSI as it bounces here. And that's going to take a lot of work to confirm any real bottom in RSI. And then OBV is just pointing straight down. So, doesn't look great. Anyway. Geez, I've had a lot of problems losing my voice lately, so excuse me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this YouTube influencer business. Try to speed up a little bit here. The NASDAQ, same story anyway, just coming up into resistance here. Couldn't quite get into the short reload zone. Just basically now we're just making another, this ended up just being another lower high. And we're threatening to M out again here. So like that's kind of like a channel to the downside, which could end up being a bull flag or something down the road. But like this 200 down here is now support if we lose these lows. So it seems like more down, just to keep it short. 38.2 is way down here at like 13,900. So of the range here. So I could see like the NASDAQ coming off a lot here too. And if you think about like some of the stocks, like I wonder what happened to Meta. I think they ended up faking out the highs here. Yeah. So like when you think about like the NASDAQ going lower and then look at like something like this right at 78.6 and could easily come off a lot, you could see how the NASDAQ might have to just completely, it could go lower here, I guess is all I'm saying. Turns out, I mean, it was kind of shocking to see Facebook be really strong through here, but this is a great example of just a fake out. They just FU'd the high there and basically trapped everybody in long who got bullish through here, and they just basically took the high here and FU'd everybody. And right against 78.6, which isn't a huge surprise. Going back to our fib teachings this week, also good place to draw a fib and just see that Facebook has obviously ran into resistance here now twice right at 78.6 level, short reload zone. So anyway, but my point here is really when you look at this chart and think it could easily just, even if it's just getting down and testing the lows of this new range, you could see how the NASDAQ might get knocked all the way down to the 200 period moving average. So anyway, stock market's pointing down. The Russell 2000 is really getting crushed. I'm not going to get too into that. But small cap stock market is just now strongly trending down. And actually, this is the futures contract, so I don't have all the chart data here, but these are the lows of the range anyway, somewhere back here. So we're starting to take out this big range that the Russell's been in. And not really bouncing either. So it kind of looks like the stock market's pointing down into the end of the year for the most part, I think. With actually not tons. I don't know where the support is once we really lose these levels like on the S&P and stuff. So I don't know. Moving on to Bitcoin though, funny enough, so like really Bitcoin had been sort of sluggish through here when the stock market was trying to bounce, and looked like it had kind of rolled over at the 200 and might have to come down against the bottom of the range. And I remember even last week just asking like what kind of event would it would, or just saying there probably would need to be like some sort of news or fundamental event to push prices up here into the short reload zone. And I didn't really see that happening. I thought we would probably just drift lower, but sure enough, there was a fake news event, right? That was the fake news of BlackRock ETF approval. But nonetheless, we'd been battling this, basically. I like this trend line off the lows here, just off of these two key lows. It's behaved well with the 200 period moving average as well. And you can see how the oscillation battle was kind of working here for a while recently as we sort of like fought the idea of Bitcoin losing the uptrend and maybe putting in a giant M here, kind of like Ethereum has, and just sort of being over for the year. And I thought that was what was happening. And then sure enough, of course, probably because I just said, I think on Sunday I was pretty much saying I thought there's a better chance of prices ending up back down here. So that guaranteed that's not what was going to happen. And so nonetheless, on fake news or not, they just ran it up into short reload zones. But really the question here now, I suppose, is like, are we just in a range here with the highs of 31,800 and the lows down here at the strong support at 25,200 that I've talked about a shit ton. Just there's a lot of reasons supports down here. And like really this 78.6 tag, what happens here now that 78.6 has been tagged and kind of rejected here, we just basically shot up. On that news, it was sort of a fake out, they suck people in long here. Everybody thought Bitcoin was going to the moon, because of BlackRock and whatever, and just immediately took it back, that same day. And then they had to just go eat the wick. But I'm sure anybody long here got screwed. So hopefully you can see how, like, bare minimum, if you're trying to trade this, longing into that news is, really not how you should be thinking of this. And if anything, you should have probably been drawing your fibs already and saying, well, this red box is kind of a place where shorts are a reasonable idea. So like any sort of run up into that, not really buyable. Especially if you're trying to trade that, like you're just going to get run over. But nonetheless, they just brought it down into what's now support is the top of the old range. There was this little range in here that's now become support here on top of the 200, and everything is still just basically pointing up in the short term. So it's just a question now, like RSI is plenty overbought. OEV is sort of pointing up, but you can see there's a potential divergence coming in. So we're making a lower high in OBV right here. So if OBV starts emming out here this week and rolling over, then the fact that we're in short reload zone and that's a potential divergence and RSI is already overbought, then there's plenty of reasons to think this is we're in a range here and somewhere up here is the top and we're going to have to just range more. So we'll see what happens though. I suppose if like you're a bull, then you'd probably have to wait for some sort of bull flag or some sort of consolidation period now to set up another long, because I think it's too late to be longing in here. So I suppose the 200 really is just now going sideways. So we could easily just oscillate around the 200 for the rest of the year. Maybe come back against it, and that'll still sort of fall in line with setting up the altcoin bottom here into the end of the year, I think. So what's the key takeaway here? I guess Bitcoin's just probably in a range. We're up in short reload zones, so act accordingly to that. Things are getting a little bit overbought in RSI's case, and OBV's kind of running out of steam here. Of course, OBV could shoot up and make a big W here. That could sort of change things, but for right now, we're making a lower high. And I don't know, I'll just finish with Ethereum just in this broader conversation. And just really, Ethereum just came down into the ABCD support, didn't quite fully hit it and has now bounced, but it looks a lot weaker than Bitcoin. Like, if anything, I mean, even if we drew ranges off the highs on Ethereum, we're kind of, we're not up in short reload zones yet. Ethereum didn't like go after the highs yet. We're just sort of, if anything, kind of coming down into sort of kind of weak support. The only problem with support being right here for me is like we have the trend line. It's like you could use this trend line for support, and then I like that the ABCD PRZ is right around here, so that's like a reasonable place to sort of hunt like a bounce. Although we didn't quite touch those levels, but what I really don't like is that tail right down here that basically points down to this high and mountain man of the range. So it seems like price could easily just dip down into that kind of level. There's like a magnet into that tail, I think. So that's what I don't like about this. But nonetheless, you can see how Ethereum is more rolled over, and as it comes up into the 200 here, that's resistance also. So I think Ethereum is just basically range bound here in the entire range, that is, and like we could easily start testing like mountain mans and stuff here into the end of the year, because this looks kind of more rolled over to me. And I think that Bitcoin's sort of been outperforming Ethereum and altcoins lately, it seems like. So I think the ideal scenario for me would be to just have Bitcoin sort of stay range bound, let altcoins bottom into the end of the year, and then start seeing W's and stuff come in sort of before the halving, which is next April. So really nothing's changed. That's just the same thing I've been saying over and over again. I guess the only thing different from last week is Bitcoin did go after the highs, which was not really what I was expecting, but either way, doesn't really change the investment spectrum very much, because I think like the altcoin investment narrative or whatever you want to call it, or spectrum for us, is just that Bitcoin, whether even it goes after 38.2s all the way up at 35K here, like somehow they rip it up. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised, because that's remember that's the head and shoulders. So the head and shoulders bottom target's still 35 up here, 36,000 and 38.2s, and even just looking at that, you could see how maybe they rip it. I mean, that would complete that head and shoulders. But either way, whether Bitcoin shoots up there or rolls over here, I think we're still just kind of in this sort of kind of rangy, toppy, sort of by the dip, coming somewhere down the road opportunity, I guess. Like, so we're going to roll over somewhere and put W's in somewhere over here, like later into this year or early next year. It's kind of what I think would happen, even if we shoot up here. So, and remember, I just keep thinking that, or keep saying that buying altcoins into the end of the year seems like the window. And so, that's kind of what nothing changes here is all I'm getting at, I guess. Even if, regardless of Bitcoin going up to 38.2s here or pulling back, I think the altcoin market sort of stays in that same what's the right word? Like, or it doesn't change our strategy for buying altcoins. That's all I'm trying to say here. And more sidewaysy, the better, probably, because if Bitcoin does just shoot straight up out of nowhere here, it seems like the timing's a little bit off. I don't know. Of course, that's just all opinion. None of that really matters. All we can really say is technical stuff, which is 78.6 is being tested of the little range here. If we keep going after the highs here, then we'll have to readdress. But I wouldn't be like faulting like lower time frame traders from just at least acknowledging that we are getting to the highs of this range here, and there are short opportunities up in there. So anyway, geez, I guess we could probably jump into what Paul's got to talk about. There are some interesting kind of altcoins that I've seen, like, in some stuff that looks good for sure. And then Paul has the ones he's going to cover. So I don't know how if you're ready to jump on and do that, you can. Otherwise, I could talk about some stuff that looks interesting to me. It's up to you.
Let's go that way. Yeah.
What's that?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Just move there.
Let me find your screen here.
I'm playing around, you know me.
You're probably playing around on Stars Arena.
Yeah. I find Ivan on tech and Ben Armstrong, if you know him.
Oh,
yeah. They are, I don't know, 14 AVAX now, both of them.
It's 14 AVAX for one Ben Armstrong ticket.
Yeah, and Ivan on tech has 1 hour.
How much is AVAX? Like $9 or something?
Yep. Okay, so we have the plan. Let's go back on our business. We have the same plan. I don't think it's new for after 42 weeks. Everyone should know about this plan. If you don't know, you can find this document, this spreadsheet. You can find it on our community on Discord. Just join us, ask to be verified, and you'll have access on everything, all channels for free, for example. So you can make a copy. You can follow this plan, you can modify it, or you can do whatever you want with this one. For today, we left last week at NEO. Now we are on SNX. On lower time frame, SNX has a really nice development. I even made some nice money on that. But let's take a look at what we have on weekly chart. So you can see weekly chart looks really nice, but we had a fill, nice bounce up, but short was a bit higher. And now you can see we are just in the long reload zone trying to form a W. We don't have a weekly W for the moment. That at least is holding that level. We bought 0.5. I said multiple times that I'll buy another 0.5 if I'll see a weekly W. I don't see a weekly W. I don't see anything special. What I see here, the market going sideways. If you don't have this one, it's a good level to buy it, to buy a small nibble. Yeah, really nice. It's starting to look like a bottom. But we bought 0.5, and we should wait a little bit more for that weekly W to buy another 0.5. Yeah. Sell half on a double here. The problem I have with this chart is that this could be the weekly W. This one. We can confirm a weekly W all the way up here. So a bit higher. Well, we'll see. At least if we'll confirm this big W, we'll sell half on a double and then we have more money to reload. I don't think we'll put the W and we'll go straight up. We can consolidate even more. It's a bit too early, in my view, to start going up. But who knows? So on this one, we have a feel. We don't need to do anything. Just check if we have the short level in the market. We'll wait even more for a weekly W. Could come here in this area, or in November, December, maybe we can go lower and form a weekly W below our first entry. We don't know. We should wait and see what will happen. So this one, nothing to do for the moment. OP. We had this one. Let me check here. So we had a fill here. Let me check the list because I don't remember everything, but I should see if we have a fill. Yeah, we have a fill here on OP, but we don't have a sell half on a double. We have another limit order here from a long time ago. I'm okay with buying another 0.5 if the market will drop down in this area. I'm okay with staying on the sidelines after that. But you can see we had a fill. We are waiting. We are between the short level and the entry level. I don't see that weekly W to make me change my mind and remove this order and put a limit order here. So again, we have a fill, nothing to do, but we need to check in the market if we have this sell half on a dollar. Just 1 second, please. Okay, so next one, this one on Binance at least, it's not looking like it's forming a bottom, honestly. We can go lower. I'm expecting a bottom between the first limit order and the second one. But maybe I'm wrong this time, and maybe this one is the best thing and will pump straight from here. I don't know. But I'm waiting down below, as you can see. The next altcoin we have, it's an old one, Dash. A lot of you from 2018, 2019, you know this altcoin, and seems like it's getting destroyed. And you can see this was the low from 2020. Yeah, and you can see we are below that level. Problem is we accepted below that level. Will this one will go to zero? I doubt that. We can get a short even from this one, even higher. But for the moment, it's really weak in my view, even on the compared with other altcoins. Until we'll form a bottom, I'm not touching this one. Now, we can form a nice bottom here. You can see the volatility is out. But the problem is that we don't have that sideways movement. Now we are starting to go sideways. Let's hope so. We have a limit order already filled here at $46. And you can see we have the short level, but will take some time. Let's call it that way. It will take some time until we'll have free coins on this one. It's an old altcoin. I don't know. Not too many people pay attention on this one. Maybe in time this thing will change. We'll probably get our sell half on a double. I don't know about more than that. That depends from too many factors for me to even guess. So on this one, we have a fill. We are not touching this one until we'll see a big and wide weekly W. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. CRV. And CRV is here. This looks like a bottom. You can see maybe we can push lower, but look left and you'll see the last bottom in 2020. You can see the W here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Maybe you'll see it better. You can see last time we form a weekly W here and up, retest and up again. Now we are retesting that level. We can, I don't know, test the low from 2020 probably. Nothing unusual about that. Other altcoins, they are below this level. So why not? I'll buy another 0.5 here? No. I'll wait for that weekly W. I don't know how low this one could go. Same kind of thinking. We bought at 75 cents. We should have our short order in the market. Let's hope that this is the bottom. Let's hope this is the bottom and we'll get a weekly double. Seems likely here. Let's see the indicators. I don't like the OBV, but the rest, they are looking okay. Nice area to even start hunting a trade in this location. At this level, you can go on daily. If you'll draw a long reload zone, you can see you are at 78.6. So you definitely can find something on this one. On this plan, we have a field. I guess we have two of them. I don't know exactly. I will check later. You can look on the spreadsheet and you'll see exactly what we have on this one. Let's hope that will make a nice W here and will push higher. Let's just hope. On daily chart, I said about a trade. Okay, let's just take a look. We don't have a W, but we have a nice location. I'll just draw it and leave it like this here. Just to have it. Now, if we'll form a nice W here, we can play around. You can see some bullish divergence forming on RSI. I'm not seeing clearly the MACD, but you can see same kind of thinking. Yeah, same kind of thinking. Bullish divergence forming on MACD, on RSI. OBV is just following the price action. Willy was oversold. So you need a W here and you're ready to frame a 3-step setup. Not yet. You can see we don't have the W yet, but maybe you can form one. Back at the weekly chart. Let's just keep our discussion on weekly crypto review. Okay, the next one is Mina, and the last one. So on Mina, you can see how a bottom should look. We have a lot of potential on this one, but I don't know too many things about tokenomics. I don't know how many coins they have on the market if they are developing. But for the moment, one order here, never got a fill. And I guess we bought another one here. I have to check the spreadsheet on Mina. So, okay, we have one order placed. And I have to check left. Yeah, we don't have anything. I didn't put a second one. So we can wait for that weekly W on this one. We'll probably form in this area, maybe a bit lower. What I don't like about this one is that lost the level and accepted below. That is not on weekly chart is not something you should expect. Yeah, this one was okay. Why? We never closed below that level. We took the liquidity and bounced up. Now we accepted, we closed on a weekly basis below and accepted well below this level. I'm thinking we should wait for that weekly W. We don't know. That weekly W can appear on this chart from 40 cents to almost zero. So we have some room to form a weekly W. We don't know. We can go a lot lower. Indicators, I don't see anything special. For the moment, nothing. On weekly chart, look at OBV. It's one of the ugliest OBV I saw on altcoins. So no, thank you. Give me that weekly W, give me something, and I could play around. If not, I'll wait. I have 0.5 in the market, so I'm okay with that. We talked about 5 coins. So Mina, CRV, Dash, OP, and CNX. On CNX, I had some trades. People who are watching the daily plan video should be in this trade. We had a trade here, and I said, if you want, you can move your stop to scratch. After we moved our stop to scratch, if some people moved it, if some other people, they still have the trade, I framed another trade here, and you can see the result. Really nice. You can see the trend line. You can look on different time frames, and you'll see the reasons why I took this trade. It's like a homework. If you want to see what I saw in this chart, look from 1 hour to daily chart in this area, and you'll see why I took this trade. 4-1 hit, take some profit off for the people who took this trade, and trail the rest. How I'll trail the rest? on this one, seeing the volatility we have here, you can see one candle is bigger than my entry, the distance between my entry and my stop loss. So how I do it, I just put 2 times the distance between my stop loss, 2R, let's call it that way. Yeah? 2 times the distance from my entry to my stop loss, and I'll trail from the top of the market price. Yeah, if the market will go that distance back, the trail will be activated and I'll be stopped. My stop loss will be hit and profit. For the moment, I'm in profit and I'm expecting higher. We can test this high, and you can see some liquidity hidden here, and we are still in the long relow zone. Even if we'll hit this, I don't know. Let's think we'll hit this level. I have 8 to 1, and I'll still be in the long relow zone on higher time frame. I'm okay with that. But for the moment, just I mentioned about this altcoin that I have a nice trade. I presented all my swing trades are presented on daily plan video. I talk about swing trades for free for everyone. It's up to everyone to follow that video or not. It's not about what I want. It's if you want and you think you can find some nice ideas. Sometimes we have ideas, sometimes we don't. Okay, so we still have 55 altcoins. I said we'll look for new projects. For the moment, everything I saw about new project, I saw they still have a lot of dumping to do. A lot of coins, they almost all of them, they have between 10 and 20% in the market. The rest, they have to dump, and every project I saw, they want to dump before the halving. Why? I don't know. Yes. But most of the projects, the new ones, they have a program to release some coins in the market every month or even more than that. I don't think it's for us it's good to chase or to even think, okay, this is the bottom. On new altcoins, in my view, we didn't saw the bottom yet. So I'll patiently wait for lower levels, for weekly Ws, for daily Ws, for something to get my attention. Yeah, we have some programs, some progress. We have some altcoins. We have a nice list, but they are not ready yet to be put in this plan. We'll wait for lower levels. Just my 2 cents. Seems like I'm speaking by myself because I don't see the YouTube video. I don't know, Kevin. I'm still online or I'm
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, maybe you are, but not too many people.
Yeah, I heard you bottom later.
Yeah, thank you. At least you heard something. We have any requests?
I don't know if I have any direct requests. Let's see here. Not in our request room, no.
People from Premium post your request in that channel. It's especially made for you. We'll talk about the sooner when you'll post. Usually in a couple of hours you'll get a review. So use that channel. It's especially made for you. If you have about weekly crypto review, you can mention and we'll talk about in this video. But usually you'll get a faster answer. DMAC, you are here? Okay. So before we'll do the review, we'll do the giveaway or we'll keep it for later?
We could just do it right now, I suppose. I have it ready to go.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Why not? DMAC, you retweet? Marianne, you?
Yeah, I got the shuffle everybody's names. So there's 13 people. Oh, that's the drum roll. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I guess I could hit the button.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay, let's see. Okay. The last winner didn't contact me.
All right, well.
This is a new one.
Your prize is one Crypto Traders Arena share ticket on.
No. One membership. No, Crypto Traders Arena is something different. Yeah, well, we'll do something for ticket holders in time. If this app will succeed, yeah, we can do something. But for the moment, yeah, you can copy that name and send it in a message. Fine. Or directly retweet on Crypto Traders Arena. You want 1 month premium membership if you want. We don't have requests this time?
No, there's no real requests. I mean, there's some names I know that look kind of interesting we could look at.
Yeah, we can do that. And in meantime, people, if you have requests, I'll post on Discord or on Twitter. I'll post if someone has any request.
Let me
Post in the chat.
Haney.
Yeah, and retweet this week post to have a chance for next week. Okay.
I will talk. While you're doing whatever you're doing, I'll talk about audio. Or just because I just saw this little. I think I mentioned this one last week, but I'm kind of nibbling on this. But I just noticed this daily W is trying to come in here against the old market cycle bottom. Or not cycle, I should say, but the rally from the beginning of the year. But this is one I've just been kind of nibbling on, but I did notice it's trying to W out. It hasn't W'd yet, but this kind of stuff that I'm interested in. And I was looking at when I was just kind of thumbing through altcoins here right before we started this show. I was looking at these daily charts and just kind of looking to see which ones might actually hang in here. So there's a lot of them that are down against the lows like this, trying to W. So if this thing can break out here and make a W, I don't know. There might even be swing trades here on this thing. It is a really good location. Is all I'll say about that, and tons of upside. And this is kind of a good example of when I was saying, you know, can I make any money just getting a trade back to 38.2? Like 38.2 is sitting at 28 cents of the entire range here, and really that W breakout level is at 15 cents. It's even cheaper right now. So I mean, you're banging a double out just on a test of 38.2. So definitely that's the kind of thing I'm interested in. Like, now whether you wait for the W and whether you swing trade this thing or invest or whatever, just talking about kind of like what types of things would I want to invest in, it'd be something like this. I like this one. Of course, this is actually not quite a W back to 38.2 if you're buying double, excuse me. I mean, it is off of like lower levels here, but if you're actually buying that breakout level, you can't quite get your double off right before 38.2, but it's really damn close. So you got to get long basically at like 13 to 14 cents. And you can, you could bang a double out here just on a test back to that. And then that's a daily chart, but like keep in mind, I mean, from like a weekly chart level, you can see how that's pretty doable. And of course, there's a ton more upside when this thing truly does bottom. Now, there's no weekly W's yet, and even OBV is kind of still pointing down here on the weekly chart. And we also have sort of fair bit of downside risk just to get down to the old open here on Binance, at least. And so if it craps out here, it has a lot more down in it, but it looks generally pretty good here. And maybe even like I was saying, just like if this can W here and start trending hard, there might be like swing trades or shorter term trades here on something like this, because it is in a good place to start bouncing. So that's one I thought was, or that's just one I've been kind of, I don't know if I I think it was a couple weeks ago I was talking about how there's just a few names that I wanted to start dollar cost averaging, and this is one that I added in here mostly because I just like the platform. I don't know really the tokenomics or I don't know any fundamental reasons to truly buy this thing. I just kind of like it's the audio kind of decentralized SoundCloud platform, and I just like that. But I already banged a double off in this move, and I'm just kind of starting to dollar cost average into this. And another one that I'm doing that same thing with is ZRX, which starting to come back down. So like this one was strong like a week ago. We had and really still looks damn good, but it's been kind of relatively uppy the last little while here. Kind of running out of steam as it got to test the top of this little range here and threatened to make a W. Like it's sort of trying to make a W there. I don't know if I think the low here is lower than this low. Let's see, 1525. Yeah, so it's not really this low is lower than this low, so I don't know if we can count that as the W, but it's damn close. And then we're sort of trying to put in this wider W bottom, but either way, like you can kind of see this sort of fake out that the breakout was kind of more of a fake out here the last I mean this is a weekly chart, so now it's been these 2 weeks that have gone after those highs. And then we didn't really look great here ending the week this week so far. That's not a very strong looking candle, so I don't think you can call like necessarily like a breakout here, but at the same time OBV is pointing strongly up, and this is just another example of one that's like trading down against the old cycle lows, starting to W, has tons of upside here. Basically you could buy at 26 cents here, and 38.2 is at $1, so there's two doubles back to 38.2 if you're kind of buying down in these levels here. So and this is another one that I'm just sort of dollar cost averaging. If you want to like time this trade better, I think you'd probably be inclined to just let it truly, I don't know, the weekly W level's way up here, so I don't think you can wait all the way for this wide W to break out. I mean, you can, but you'll have to wait for, hope for a deeper pullback after that. So I don't know, just patiently waiting for a tighter little W to come in maybe. I don't mind this W, even though it is technically an FU on the right side of the W here. But strength above this like 26 cent level, what is that? 26.2. Strength above there would be like a good thing. But in general, OBV is just in divergence and pointing higher. It's trying to bottom. Location's awesome. I'm just going to be kind of dollar cost average in this thing because I know I want to buy it. So that's ZRX. Same thing like, well, there's a couple on here like that. This LTO looks very similar. Not sort of as great a location. Like I still think this red line's probably going to get tagged as it comes down against the old W. That's still a bit lower. But kind of same idea. It's trying to maybe W here. OBV's in divergence and pointing higher. So I'm just sort of, again, going into the end of the year, probably see this red line tagged, and I kind of want to, I'm going to, just kind of work sort of a dollar cost average nibbling plan on this one. LTO. What's some other ones I liked? Well, I'll mention AGLD, but it's taken off. This one I've been, reloading here in the reload zone. I got 2 fills, at least one at Mountain Man and one at 78.6 here. Never got my fill at 88.6. I noticed this week or today, towards the end of this week, they're starting to rip this thing. And this is one I like this one for dollar cost averaging too. It's getting away from us here a little bit, but this one has like 60 million coins out. It's sort of tied to this NFT game. Seems like it has this kind of nerdy Dungeons and Dragons vibe to it, which I kind of like. And anyway, I kind of think this one has it has tons of upside. It has a beautiful bottom already working here now. We have this wide ass bottom here that produced doubles in this rally, but now we came back into the reload zones and against the trend line. And look at OBV. This is one of my favorite charts in crypto. That's what a bottom looks like to me. Now it's kind of chasing here, unfortunately. I'm just trying to get sort of averaged in somewhere in the reload zone here at this point. But as long as it's above that trend line and still Wing out, I don't know, maybe this thing takes off here. Kind of looks like it wants to. But to be fair, it's not really like a daily W. You can see how technically we're not really breaking out per se here. They're making lower highs. This isn't really a nice looking W here, but there is sort of a W working back here. I don't know. So like in the short term, it is pumping today, but I don't think there was like a great bottom right there. In general, I think just trying to, I'm still working my bed way down here, even at 88.6. Well, it's the W breakout level here, kind of above 88.6. So any moves down here, I'm still down to just nibble away, but it does look like it's turned kind of like a weekly chart of this probably looks awesome. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the reality is the bottom is back here. And I mean, I was originally buying back here, and, anybody that was following me in my room on Discord, I specifically remember posting this thing down in here, though I was working these bids. So anyway, that one's kind of too late to do anything, but that's just one that, so some altcoins definitely show strength. I mean, if anything, that looks pretty good to me. I like the solid building above the trend line here. Just it's trying to turn here. It wouldn't take a lot to start trending higher if this thing remains strong here, but we'll see what happens. I do notice OBV here crapping out with a little bit of an M, so we'll see. And for whatever reason, the last couple of days, this thing's ripping. Somebody was asking, or David's asking about car. Let's see, is there other, there's a couple requests in here.
I have one.
Okay. What's yours? And then I'll do the ones in the room.
Well, I want Loom on weekly or daily chart.
Oh, I saw that. And these motherfuckers. Whoosh. Yeah, they pump and dumped this thing. Damn.
Yeah, that's my request.
I mean, on a
chase.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, this is why you don't chase up markets. We don't want to be buyers here. We want to try to buy. I mean, at least try to get yourself in the habit of, like, to be fair, this the chance to buy was reasonable in here. There wasn't, kind of like where we are with altcoins now is sort of in this phase. Even like that sort of move right there, that's sort of how a lot of altcoins look right now, coming down against previous lows. And if you drew fibs off of this move, you could see that, even you would have gotten kind of run over here buying 78.6 against this range, but ultimately you did great. So this is why we don't chase up markets. If you were buying up here, you got wrecked. And funny enough, if you would have held, you could have held through that. But, first and foremost, you got to train yourself to not buy this into this kind of shit. You want to already be long down here. I will say that this is, I mean, if you're patient, that's what's hard about this, but patient people win. I mean, you could have let price kind of, there wasn't really truly W's in here. Like, I don't see a true, this is a daily chart, but I don't even see like a real daily bottom in there. Like, sure, we came down into reload zones, and then of course that's what happened, but you can see the first W came in right there. So even if you waited for that one, and even if you bought that and went underwater right away, it still ended up holding the lows. And so this was a much more opportune area to be thinking about being a buyer than up here, I'd say. Just looking at price action. And then even more patient if you were to just wait for the true weekly W. Like if I go back to a weekly chart, didn't really get a nice weekly W, to be fair. So we'll just use the daily for this example. But because I just wanted to mention, if you let this W come in, look how there's like multiple days of still being able to buy that breakout. So this is kind of waiting for the W to come in. You could have said this was on September 10th, and then the next day you could have gotten filled down here, the next day, the next day, the next day. So four or 5 days of being able to buy that level right before the big breakout, if you were just willing to wait for W's against old lows. So that's the best example of this. But then look what happens now. And so I guess now going forward, when I see something like this, it's like, the move's over. So first off, I mean, I do have like a W base way down here. So I can start at least just draw that line and be like, well, The breakout's down here. That's way down here, quite a bit lower, 50% plus lower. So I'm not really in any hurry anytime I see this. So I'd just be like, well, fuck, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to, like, sure, that's going to be like 78.6 or even lower, depending on, yeah, like, so you could say, okay, well, we're at, we're below 78.6. We're actually even at 88.6. Yeah, but there's also just this huge open gap here that basically, not gap, but just kind of like low volume open air here and no bottom. So the point I'm getting at here is when there's like a pump and dump like this, it's best to just let this thing finish bottoming. There's no bottom here yet. So if you did get profit taking up here, and annoyingly, I got a double right here and then liquidated the rest because it got delisted from everywhere. And then this happened after. It got delisted from Coinbase and Kraken. Or Coinbase, I should say, and not on Kraken for me. So that was annoying to me because I did get a double here. When was that? That was, like earlier in the year. So I'm not in this at all. But anyway, point being, let's just wait for this let's go back to the weekly chart and just try to keep our senses about stuff like pumping. When it moves over like this, I don't think you can expect, like, sure, you might even get a double off on a dead cat bounce. Like maybe it comes down into these highs and catches a solid bounce. Like it wouldn't be the first time where maybe you could even get a double off there. It's just that chances are that's probably not going to happen. It's like you're better off just sort of waiting. Like, yeah, you might get lucky, but I'd say let's just let this thing figure out what its next move is and put in real W's. So that's the old loom, but definitely don't chase. Like, God, don't. Even if, I mean, yeah, even if you bought here, you might have made some money, but this happened fast. Keep in mind, that's just 2 weeks, straight up, straight down. Probably didn't give you a lot of opportunities to, like, I mean, you could go down to even like a 4-hour chart and you saw the first M here. So I suppose you could have seen this M come in and sold the check of that M or something. But like, if you weren't paying attention, this thing would get away from you pretty fast. So if you're in here buying anywhere in here, there's a good chance you got run over. But moving on, actually, let's just look at some of what's in here. We have Agix, Hive, AI narrative. Let's look at Agix. I think we looked at Agix last week, didn't we? But I mean, that doesn't seem like the best place. I think KuCoin has a lot of history because this one was around. Yeah. Let's see here. Well, unfortunately for me, KuCoin's not on the table anymore. This kind of same thing, actually, though. So this one, we had a nice pump, and it's kind of what I was getting at here. Like, yeah, you could have bought 78.6 on the, retracements here, but it didn't produce much of a bounce, and now there's still no bottom in here. So just like the one I was just looking at, I mean, it had a more extreme dump, but it is still a good example of when there's a big move like this, it's not necessary. There's no rush to reload, in my opinion. Probably this is going to come all the way back down to sort of like old structural breakout levels, like that level right there at what is that, 8 cents? It's sitting at 19 cents. Damn, I feel blind. I can hardly see my numbers on my screen. Anyway, wait for W's. OBV's pointing down. It's not good location. Like, remember, I like location like even ZRX. It's just at least we're like, you could see how we're down at the bottom of the range, Whereas going back to Agix, let's see here. I just, when I see something like that, I just think more down. Mostly because that's like a fair value gap, right? This big, anytime you have like, basically this candle ripped straight through this week and just left a lot of unfinished business. Like if you draw like profiles, or do I have a volume profile on here? Yeah, so like see that hole right there? That hole is also just this, what I call open air. That's just, there wasn't that much business done in there. price just ripped through, and so it just kind of leaves like a vacuum now for price to come into. And you can see anytime you see like this hole into that level, and you could say the same about up here, sure. Like top of value has also some open unfinished business, so it's like a crapshoot. Maybe we go up and do the business up here first, but just looking at this right here, it seems like this is likely to be tested, and so I'd be more interested in buying, down in here. And of course, the way this is, maybe if I zoom in a little bit, still either way, the POC, is down, like value, the smart money's already long from down here, and price is going to want to kind of come back down against the POC. And, that's how I see that. Now, of course, there's a lot of business being done right here, just keeping with this volume profile kind of idea. It's like, so there is potential support here, I suppose, if you think about it that way. Like, whereas are these buyers coming in and supporting price right here? Maybe, but in general, I just think down here is likely to be tested. And also look at OBV here, just kind of drifting down in M and putting in lower highs. So I personally, I always like to just let it finish, even like looking here, like how long it took to just sort of eventually W. Is this hive with two eyes, Hanya? Is that what you're saying? Or is it just regular old hive? Because I don't know if there's two, I don't see a 2-eye hive, so we'll look at this first. I mean, this one's farther along. Like, see how this one's sitting at the POC? That's kind of like, it's like sitting at the, and I don't want to confuse different, because the POC in like day trading isn't necessarily a good location for a trade. But when you're talking about sort of like these big ass weekly cycles here, the POC kind of is a demonstration of like where the whales are long, or smart money, or when it's like the POC's down at the bottom of the range like this is where you would expect people to be accumulating, like smart money to accumulate their positions back after, selling up here. So if this is the regular, I guess this is it. But either way, I like the looks of this one because I'm going to get rid of volume profile here. But simply just draw like a fib here off the lows, and just, I have Paul's style of fib here on my screen, but I like to use 88.6 here for these altcoins. So, you can see we're below 88.6. The location clearly is good. We're down against the old lows. However, we haven't really touched the weekly W. So I guess my first step when I look at something like this is to draw my fibs, right? And usually in altcoins right now, we're going to have pretty decent location. I like the fact this one has this previous market bottom to work from. And so the next thing I'll do is just draw that level here. Look at the tag of the weekly break. I mean, that's such an awesome example of like kind of Wyckoff check idea here. Didn't quite hit it on the money, but you can see how they just came down and got right into that breakout level and ripped it. And so kind of like going back to that Loom, this would be one, like Loom still had downside risk, but this one sold off so hard that it got all the way down into the true bottom. There was sort of like an fair value gap there, even though this tail sort of filled it. But this one had just gone way oversold here into the old structural low. But that was an interesting place to have been a buyer if you were fortunate enough to have done that. But now it's just kind of like, doesn't really look like a true W coming in right here. Obviously we have good location from this last cycle, but we also have decent location just kind of like drawn fibs off of this current range here. So like, I suppose you could think of it like, well, this little range here, we are at 88.6 here, 78.6. So that's good too. But there's just no W yet. And OBV's not really turned here, it looks like. Yeah, OBV's kind of pointing down here still. So like I've said about most of these, I do think probably just, see some sort of dump down against the old breakout level before the real bottom's in. Suppose if you wanted to like trade this or something, you could easily start drawing some trend lines and seeing some, timing your trades a little better. Like even if we could start right here, even just as like if you're trying to trade this, I think having the trend line like somewhere off of those highs kind of shows you that, like, I guess there's kind of a little W in there. I don't know. Like, I mean, technically, I suppose you could call that a W and trade that. It's not my favorite, but there is a little bit of a breakout happening. I don't know if that's really like a trend line breakout or not. Definitely looks like it could sort of move up into the top of the range here, though. And it looks, I don't like OBV, though. It's not really turned yet. So anyway, that one's as an investor, I think hunting lower, probably maybe get a real weekly W here on the other side of that trend line at least. I mean, you could draw trend lines off the top, but they're not going to give you very much usable information. We're already way past those. So anyway, it's all right. Let's see. If Ajax goes to 0.1, sell your house. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to buy that thing lower. Let's see what else. Car.
But I'll still never sell my house.
Yeah. I mean, I'll sell my house if somebody wants to pay me a bunch of money for it. Fuck it. I'll live in a van by the river. But not to buy Ajax. I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
I just want to sell my house so I can stop working on it. Damn it. Anyway, let's see this car. I guess it's this one on Qcoin, maybe. I'm not familiar with this one. Certainly kicked down in the nuts and down in the dumps here, right? Now, I don't know what kind of previous history. I actually kind of like doing that. It takes a little bit longer, but we can always, I mean, right. Oh, wait, this one actually has an opening, but so we're new lows for sure. But I wonder if there was previous history here. This is kind of one of those things where, like, you have to sort of think about location as being like cheap, of course, but also could get cheaper, right? It's not, it hasn't truly bottomed yet here. It's just sort of making lower highs and lower lows. It technically continued making lower highs and lower lows here, lower high, lower low. Sort of like, okay, well, it's kind of changing. There was some sort of market structure shift here, like with the weekly W that came in, but also lost all its steam here into the end of the week. But there is a W there. And I suppose you can argue that OBV has also confirmed a divergence just right there. So that's the makings of a bottom. I think we ticked that high out here. Yeah, so we confirmed a W right here in OBV, which was also a divergence. Price is going lower. Yeah, we have a momentum confirmation and weekly W confirmation, depending on how you call that. Like, I don't know. It might be smart to wait for a better close here to give you more faith that we've actually closed above that level. But there is some sort of shift here, but it's not really a new high. I mean, truthfully, we'd have to take out like probably that high to really make a new high. So it's just kind of like because there's no structure to work from back here, you're sort of just shooting in the dark with location. I mean, we could look at moving averages and just maybe wait for a cross. Yeah, this is a good example of how. So, like, we do have momentum confirmation, like I said, and we have a kind of a weekly W. But look at the moving averages just being resistance right here, and still kind of wide. They almost need to take a couple more weeks to sort of tighten up and see if price can break through them a bit and cross them. I'd prefer that, really. So it's just too early, and it's still trending lower. It's just showing signs of a bottom. I suppose, like, even though OBV's in divergence, the real volume is kind of waning off here. It's sort of tried. There's some volume kind of ramping up through here, and then it just sort of ran out of gas. And then I don't know. I mean, I was going to say, like, if you just want to see the histories of these, it's never a bad idea to just go look at like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap and maybe just look at the full history. That's a fastest way I know to do it. It's a line chart, but at least you can see that this is the same chart as Qcoin, so there's nothing back here to work from. I suppose while we're looking at this, it's interesting. It's only a 7 million market cap coin, and it looks like relatively low, 160 million now. It's not that bad. So I don't know. That's cool. I mean, it easily could easily see like 10x or something out of something like this. It only have to get back to like 70 million market cap in like a bull market, and 10x would be I don't know, 70 cents. So like, yeah, 10x is really only a move back to these highs. So I don't know. Even if you drew fibs there, that's not like a great place to draw your fibs, but just for fun. I mean, you can even see that like Mountain Man's up here like 52 cents. So it doesn't, if this thing can turn, it's got shit tons of upside. And it probably will. It's just a question of when. And I think I'll add, just before I'm moving on, I'll just add that when I see this, I kind of see like weird head and shoulders kind of bottoms. Like they seem to come in a lot where it's actually like a pretty big head and shoulders. So it kind of will have to kind of round out here. And wherever this neckline ends up being, somewhere around there is where like resistance is. But you can, or not resistance, but that's like a nice trade window, I think, up into this high, which is a huge trade window, actually. I mean, that's from 6 cents up to 30. So like any sort of real W's in here to trade up to there seems like, I mean, that could be sort of the muted bull run that I'm talking about that could be, could happen. So I want to try to prepare for like, if it's not like an all-time highs in Bitcoin kind of bull market or something, can you still make considerably outperforming Bitcoin money on these shit coins like this? And this one is, the answer is totally yes, as long as it can truly turn. So I don't know. That one looks okay though. What else is in here? ICX. Robo selling their house for Agix. Memes super cycle. What do you mean? Is this going to be a meme super cycle? This that'd be funny. I don't know what that means exactly, but it'd be cool if memes enjoyed a super cycle bull run. ICX. And we've been going about an hour and 20 minutes. Can look at more of these if anybody has. That's the swap, but let me look at anybody has any other ones we could take a look at in the next few minutes. But let's see here. I don't know. I guess I'll look at it on. Ironically, Bittrex probably has the most history, but it's pretty thin looking there. It's funny, Binance has a futures contract, but they don't. Oh, there's the Tether one. Nice location here. And nice OBV in general has been in divergence through the whole bottoming kind of process so far. Obviously got a pretty good rally in the beginning of the year, and now has just come down against the lows. So 100% location is definitely good. I mean, even against the old lows going all the way back here, I mean, even where it sits right here, it's filled most of the old bottom. There wasn't really like a great looking bottom back here. I mean, the weekly W is huge. Wasn't really tradable, but yeah, ultimately did bottom. It's kind of like that head and shoulders I was just talking about, although they did blast through. But that's kind of, when I see a bottom like this, that's what I sort of meant about the other one. It's like it's like it tried to bottom here and then took out the lows. This becomes the head. And like actually then it becomes either head and shoulders or megaphone, I think is the thinking behind that. But you can see how this is the head and shoulders here too. The neckline ended up having that sort of tail shoot now, but the bottom actually came in. It's not the best drawing, but the head is lower here. And this is a really ugly example, but it's kind of the same idea here. That's the kind of long-term looking bottoms I see a lot. They actually end up becoming like head and shoulders. Anyway, it's a ramble about that, but point being is this one has pretty damn good location here, and it's just a question of does it have any other reasons it's turned? And it kind of does. It's like I said, it's also came down against its current lows off the last rally. So you could draw fibs from here, from low to high here and see that it's probably at 88.6. And it's also kind of got a weekly W here. And it also has OBV, like I said, is in divergence back here and then still trending higher for the most part. Although most recently it's kind of struggling to bottom through here. But I don't know. You could argue the weekly W's in on this thing. So, I mean, I don't really fault anybody for buying that level. I mean, you have close to 88.6 location. You have a weekly W. You have trending higher OBV. It'd be nice to see that little W come in. It's trying. I guess it actually, depending on how we close today, there might be a weekly W and OBV. So I don't know. I don't see a problem with this one. It's 20 cents right here. So, I mean, a double's just back up against these wicks that are shooting up here. So you could probably get a double off, even on this little range here by Mountain Man. It looks like not quite, more like a 78.6 tag you need for a double. So if they can break this W out here, and it seems like doubles are reasonable, just basically testing the highs of this range. Keeping in mind with this sort of like kind of the lull into the end of the year that I think is likely to happen, there's probably no rush, but this could be one of the outliers that takes off. I mean, it's the setup's in, so I'll just leave it at that. It's like buying that W seems totally fine. You're certainly not chasing. That's a huge difference between buying this and buying the loom, like up into here or whatever. And I think polls is memes will run first is what Millennial Insight's saying. Yeah. Which are the memes though? What's the best meme to
Well,
buy?
I think all with the Bitcoin exception, everything is a meme these days. I'm joking. It's like a meme, but will not run with the memes. Well, I guess Millennial will post in Discord.
Yeah, let us know
what he thinks. Yeah.
This one
could be.
So this is Pol's Polka Starter or whatever. It has something to do with Polkadot, but I'm not sure what. This is another. I think. Yeah, this is another one that's doesn't have old cycle lows to work with. So there is just a fundamental difference between analyzing the something like this and one that has like a nice W here that we can kind of look at as like where the smart money originally put the bottom in, and now they're taking it right back down to that level. When you have this situation, I think moving averages are the best way to just sort of quickly just look at a 13 EMA and 30 MA on the weekly, or you could even use like, numbers almost don't even matter as much. Just find ones that work for you to show sort of like kind of like fast and medium term trend or sort of. And so like this would be a perfect example. Like you can kind of see how the weekly W came in back here and they did cross it. So this was like the first attempt at a bottom here. We were making new lows. It took out this key low here and then eventually did W and did produce a rally. I mean, I don't know if doubles were had, but almost. Actually, this fucking one I remember because I didn't get a double here, actually. It came, my double level was somewhere up in here. On KuCoin. But point being, so this W ended up failing. So, but still, my point is, you can see at least the moving averages had come together and crossed here at the weekly W. So I think you got to wait for something similar on names that look like this. Even though this didn't produce a double, you could still see how it tried to bottom. And I think the same thing of this. It's just a little early here because we're kind of coming up into moving average resistance and still getting rejected. We haven't even gotten like a close above the 13 yet. If you just sort of zoom in, you can just see how that's been resistance the whole time. And even if we get through that, we have the 30s sort of acting as resistance too here. So like, slowly but surely there'll be maybe the weekly W comes in like that, but either way, these will slowly start going like that. And they'll kind of it never happens perfectly, but it'll come in sort of like that. And there'll be a weekly W right around the cross. And I think that's the best way to to patiently wait for a bottom on something like this that's doesn't have a range established to work from. Because otherwise, this thing might just keep running into resistance here, might roll over again and lose 50%. OBV itself is actually kind of, that's a big M. And then now there's a little bit of a W coming in here, and it's trying. So just a little early. But I do think, I like the idea of drawing the distinction between these two types of weekly charts. There's the ones that have previous bottoms, and there's the ones that are still drifting to new lows. And the ones that are drifting to new lows are a little more, they need a little more work to turn. Just because there's not smart money necessarily back here. Like that audio, you know, it's a daily chart, but it still works on the weekly. You know, at least you know that whoever put the bottom in back here is likely to, if they're like, you know, devs or investors or whales or whatever involved with the project, they're likely to be buying against the original place they put the bottom in last time. So you kind of have that in your back pocket as just some additional evidence for where a bottom might come in, as opposed to something else that might just keep drifting to closer to zero. Like it's always, you could always lose 99%. Remember, like even from right here, 99.9%, you know, or whatever can happen just out at any moment. So that's why we like to use the previous cycle bottoms to sort of base our ideas off of. So anyway, that's I think that's all of the requests. I didn't have any meme coin requests. I suppose we could look at what is the meme coin du jour right now. Is it like, I don't even know. Is it still Pepe? That looks actually like it's trying to. Where can we look at that with more data? Probably
Everyone knows Pepe.
Does KuCoin have more? It's the same. I mean, you can see the weekly W trying to come in. That's reassuring, I suppose. I mean, we all know that Pepe does have a previous bottom, but it's probably quite, because it just went from 0 to so I'm sure that previous cycle, you know, the on-chain stuff is just straight up.
W there on daily chart. Look at that daily W.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a trade could be happening.
Yeah.
Like THG's did kind of FU the low, so it's sort of a fake, it's a FUW, whatever you want to call that. That's what they did here, though. Funny enough, they did the same exact thing on that W. Just FU'd the lows really quick. And I mean, that looks pretty promising on like swing trades and lower time frame trades.
W candle body highs there. Yeah, that could be a really nice retest.
Like here.
And drop. Yeah.
So maybe the memes are, whatever happened to Ape, because we were talking about that Ape coin. I don't know.
Yeah, it's working. I have some trades on that one.
Yeah, me too. But this is a good example of like going all the way back to the Binance Open, you know? Like that is a fascinating level they just checked, and now it's hanging on.
Look at daily, you have a W.
So that's a weird call, like sniper location. Yeah, there was that W that kind of failed, and now there's another one coming in.
Yeah.
I think that qualifies as meme coin.
Yeah, it's a weekly W trying to form at big round number $1. And they start trading on Binance at $1. So I think it's an important level.
I mean, that's a killer location.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, if you can find
and tell me if they manage to bounce this one at $22 in bear market, maybe in bull market they could do more than that.
I mean, look at, damn.
So maybe in bull market you can get more than $20, and now you can buy it at $1.1. I don't know. Could be.
I mean, this is the kind, yeah, like it's 11. It's a 10x at least back to 38.2, which is just like that sort of low right there. So it seems like, I mean, I don't know. Not to mention, you could probably get a double off just a test of like the trend line. If you kind of took a trend line here to here and thought of that as like a logical place of resistance, which is also kind of like somewhere up against that kind of breakdown level, right? Right around, or I was going to say that one even. Like you could probably get a double off just, that's easily a double just back into kind of like this area here as price comes up and checks some of these old lows here and up against this trend line. I mean, that's kind of down the road a little bit into next year, but if anything, if you're just trying to talk about minimizing risk and maximizing the chance of banging out doubles, this is a solid, basically, if you can shop against this W somewhere here around even $1.10, then 220 is basically back up into here for a double. Seems like a pretty decent bet.
I think if you buy at $1, it's almost guaranteed that you'll make a double sometime. So you can buy without a stop loss, but it's a different strategy. You definitely can get a $2 price in I don't know, in next 6 months, 1 year.
Yeah.
And after you get the free position, doesn't matter. You can wait until the top of the market.
Yeah.
Would be a good bet. I'm trading it. I have some trades on that one. But on lower time frames, let's call 4 hour, 1 hour chart. Same like on SNX, same kind of idea.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, so that's a meme coin, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about like yeah, well, like I don't know about chasing it right here specifically, but definitely is in a good place to be. I mean, I really like that. That's such a sick tag of that dollar level right there. But that one looks good.
Yeah.
Kind of been watching this.
Chart.
I'm gonna look at this Dope X. I was watching. I don't know. This is that Tetranode. He shills this thing, I think, or he's a participant in this. But I was watching this thing trying to bottom here too. This is another. I don't know. It's like on exchanges now. I think it's probably on. I don't know if it's on Binance or not, but weekly chart. There's not a lot here, but I mean, this is another one that just is trying to bottom. It kind of looks kind of wonky price action here, but you can see the W's starting to come in a little bit. It's just another. I mean, this one's more expensive per coin, but it's $75 here, and doubles just up against kind of these highs up in here. I don't know if you're talking W's. It seems like the W level is right here at the moment, $72. That's kind of the current working W, and there it is trying to just. I don't know. So that's one I had on my list this week, but. That said, I don't know. We're getting into an hour and a half. I think we covered all the names that.
Yeah.
I guess Zach put in a couple more. I don't know what Zach's like talking about the S&P 500 or something in there.
No. Well, we'll see what will happen. Keep in mind, it's the end of the year. Usually it's buy when it snows. So I don't think we should chase. We should wait for the snow. In my area, yeah, we have some snow, but at the high altitude. So I still think it's a bit too early. Yeah, November, close to December, maybe it's a good idea to wait for some levels. I'm not saying not to swing trade, but for this plan for investments, maybe we'll get some lower levels. I'm hoping to get some fills. I'm 50%, something like that, invested in altcoins. So I still have 30 to 40% to on lower levels. Maybe I'll have a chance. The halvening is not here, is not right here, so we still have a chance to get some lower levels. Up to you. Opt over what was opt over actually was just I don't know. When you see everyone thinking up, will never happen or almost never. Let's see what will happen at the end of October. This week could be something nice. I see Bitcoin strong, but after that, after this bounce, even if Bitcoin will hit 32, 34, at the retracement, altcoin, in my opinion, I think they will be destroyed. At least lower levels for most of them. Just my 2 cents. If Bitcoin will hold above 30K for more time, then yeah, we'll have a bounce. But for the moment, we had a nice bounce in the weekend, and Bitcoin is back below 30K with $100 below, but still didn't accept in that level. We still have time next week, but I'm not so, I don't know. I don't like to be too optimistic in the resistance. That's my I'm a range trader. I'm seeing that resistance at 30K and everyone is bullish. Not for me. Let's wait level by level and let's transform that resistance in a support, and okay, we can hunt the next level at 32, 34 maybe. But for the moment, I don't see anything special about that. We had 28, we transformed it in a support, and we bounced to 30K. To expect now to go straight to 32, I don't know. It's just asking for trouble. For me, not yet. You'll see me in daily plan talking about, I don't know, 4 hour time frame levels daily. Is not the purpose of this live stream, but because it's the end of the week, maybe we should analyze it from a daily perspective and look at Bitcoin at 30K with a big resistance above. Just my 2 cents. Well, we have 1 hour and 40 minutes now, Kevin.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything. We did the giveaway. So I don't know who that guy is. Please reach to us on Discord or on Twitter to give you the prize and retweet for next week.
Oh yeah. Hit me up on Twitter and also join our Discord. If you win and you're not in our Discord, we should probably disqualify you, but we won't.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay.
hopefully we did a acceptable job today, and feedback's always appreciated. We'll be back next Sunday, same time. I'll also be back on Tuesday. And Paul, of course, was talking about his daily plan videos, and those are around the London session every day. And I mean, he is making 5 days a week, calling out levels and stuff like that SNX trade. If you want to get in on some of that stuff, you probably got to watch those videos. And just get general levels for each day heading into the trading day. So that's 5 days a week. So we're producing a fair bit of YouTube content. And then, of course, on Tuesdays also, we do have our New York session live stream open to anybody in the Discord room. So if you do want to just hop in and see what one of our live trading sessions is like, then Tuesday's the day. And that's just about half hour before the New York Open is when we start that. And it usually goes for a couple hours. And that's it. I'll leave it at that, I guess. And thanks for joining us. And we will just keep on keeping on and patiently waiting for this bottom to come in. I think is the best. It's just a really even if it seems boring, I even feel myself just kind of losing interest a bit in crypto at the moment. But I know that that's probably when I start losing interest, that's probably when I should sharpen my awareness a little bit, truthfully. But I think we're getting into the sweet spot of like when it's time to really, truly start going into this stuff. So just we'll be here every Sunday, just trying to stay on the same page and just wait for these bottoms to truly come in, and then we won't miss it. So if you want to join us on that, then this is a place to do it. Just, even if you're spending a few hours a week on your altcoin investment plan, that's enough to take advantage of this stuff. You just kind of have to make sure you're using that time wisely and you have a plan to work from. But now's the time to be paying attention. That's for sure. So anyway, if anybody has any questions ever, just feel free to hit me up. And otherwise, please do like and subscribe and do all that social media stuff. We'd really appreciate it. And I guess I'll just leave it at that and say have a good rest of your days and evenings and weekends. And we'll see you guys tomorrow in the New York session, or I will. So take care, everyone. Bye bye.